Governor DeSantis is ignoring your calls on hurricanes, resources, and help. How does that hurt the situation here?
All right, Kamala Harris was asked about Ron DeSantis reportedly ignoring her phone call, and she immediately took the chance to make this a political opportunity for her campaign. Let's listen to her answer.
You know, moments of crisis, if nothing else, should really be the moment that anyone who calls themselves a leader says they're going to put politics aside and put the people first. People are in desperate need of support right now, and playing political games at this moment in these crisis situations, these are the height of emergency situations, is just utterly irresponsible, and it is selfish, and it is about political gamesmanship instead of doing the job that you took an oath to do, which is to put the people first.
Now let's listen to Ron DeSantis completely dismantle Kamala's desperate attempt to make him look like a bad leader in front of the press. She claims he's doing this for political purposes, but is it really her with the political agenda?
And we've been laser focused on leveraging all resources available, including from the federal government. And I've been in touch with both FEMA and the president, as well as marshaling all our state agencies and working to support our local communities. And so for Kamala Harris to try to say that my sole focus on the people of Florida is somehow selfish is delusional. She has no role in this. In fact, she's been vice president for 3.5 years. I've dealt with a number of storms under this administration. She has never contributed anything to any of these efforts. And so what I think is selfish is her trying to blunder into this. No. And here's the thing. She has no role. No, she has no role in this process. I'm in contact with the President of the United States. I'm in contact with FEMA director. I'm obviously managing all our state agencies. We're supporting all our local government. And I will say this. I've had storms under both President Trump and President Biden, and I've worked well with both of them. She's the first one who's trying to politicize the storm, and she's doing that just because of her campaign. She's trying to get some type of an edge. She knows she's doing poorly, and so she's playing these political games. I don't have time for political games. I've got people whose lives are on the line. I've got people whose homes and their possessions are on the line, and we are focused 100% on that mission. I'm not worried about playing her political games. And so she is being selfish by trying to blunder into this when we're working just fine.
It's one thing for politicians to spar over policies, but it's a whole other level of low when someone uses a natural disaster to push their own political agenda. And that's exactly what Kamala Harris seems to be doing. She jumped out there to make this about herself and tried to disguise it as for the people, just because she couldn't get on the phone with him. But she picked the fight with the wrong governor, and Ron DeSantis made her look foolish.
And Kamala Harris for that bit of gaslighting, pointing that she's never made contact before during natural disasters that he's dealt with, and that he talks to the president, not her. And remarkably, President Biden backed him up. This is telling.
The governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call.
Is he trying to undermine her? Is this deliberate, or am I reading too much into it? Is it just Joe Biden sort of being unaware?
Oh, come on, give the old man a pass. I mean, hasn't he gone through enough, Rita? He doesn't need it from you doubling down on him. Just let it go. Look, this whole riff on DeSantis Harris and him not taking a phone call, I mean, it's just so gross. I see the man is right now in the middle of dealing with his second major hurricane in a week. The one that's hitting now, they say is the biggest hurricane to hit Florida in 100 years. Sorry, Kamala, he's a little bit busy prepping for it. Like she's like a spurned girlfriend. Like he won't take my phone calls, not returning my texts. Yeah, he's got more important things to do than deal with your craziness. I mean, leave the man alone. To call him selfish? Who's being selfish? You're politicizing this. You're making this about you. She can't help herself. You're the VP. You have absolutely no role when it comes to this. But look, I think she, rather than bothering him when he's trying to prepare, maybe she could focus on FEMA, which, by the way, has a tremendous amount of problems. First of all, FEMA could only make available right now for this hurricane 9% of its staff for hurricane relief, when historically 25% of the staff is there because they're having massive staffing problems. 33% of all the jobs in FEMA are still unfilled when we're spending trillions and trillions of dollars.
The problem with Harris's approach is that she's not helping anyone by politicizing the situation. This is a time when people need real leadership, not finger-pointing or political maneuvering. But, of course, Kamala can't resist turning everything into a political opportunity, especially as she's trying to build her brand and secure her position for the future. And what's worse, this kind of rhetoric isn't just an attack on DeSantis. It's a distraction from the real issues at hand. And speaking of real issues, when giving a chance to speak to the voters about the real difference between her and Biden's presidency, she still, after all this time, can't give a clear answer.
Done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Molly, what do you make of that?
I'm surprised, frankly, that she doesn't have more to say about this, given that she and her campaign know that this is one of the main questions that voters have about her. And one of the main things she's been trying to establish as part of her candidacy is the idea that she would represent a break from the past 4 years, and to not be able to come up with something to say in that moment. She continues to not be particularly nimble on her feet in a lot of these interviews, and this is a very obvious question that gave her an opportunity, frankly, to differentiate herself in a way that would have made news, that would have answered, I think, the curiosity of a lot of voters who want to know how she would lead differently. And she's not very specific in laying that out, and she can't point to a decision she would have made differently, which, in an electorate that thinks that doesn't like the way this administration has led and that doesn't like the track that the country is on, that may not be a very satisfactory answer.
I mean, it's...
At the end of the day, this kind of opportunism is exactly why so many people are fed up with career politicians like Harris.